Hello everyone. As you know, we're really good at making scooters look better and be better. We just finalized the design of the Apollo Light, the Explorer, and the Pro. So the next obvious step was to tackle the accessory line. As you know, for the Pro, we finalized the seat here. This is actually not finalized. This is a V1. There was a V2, a V3, and a V4. And what you saw with the Apollo Pro and the Indiegogo campaign we did was a V4. In the meantime, we decided to start doing a lock. As you know, our lock right now is the folding one. It's pretty good, but it's really heavy. And there's a couple of pain points that we don't like. You need to always carry the keys with you. It's heavy, and how it locks on the scooter is not really intuitive. You need to pass it through suspension arm or really try to find a spot on your scooter where you can lock it, and by default it's really hard to lock because of the limiting movement that it has with all the rigid legs. So for the new lock, we wanted something that is not as limiting, something that's always going to stay on the scooter, and you won't necessarily have to carry keys, and you won't have to find a spot on the scooter where you can lock it. It should be almost built in the scooter. So our idea was to build a box that you can leave at all time on the stem, and there's a cable that comes out of it, and that's gonna go back to lock in this box. So this is always on the scooter. You don't have to find a weird spot to lock it. You don't have, ideally, to carry keys, and it gives you enough length to really offer a lot of possibilities. So this is the first one we did. You can see it's pretty small, compact, and the idea is really to fix this on the stem of the scooter, and then the cable come out. So you can see it's quite a good length. It's 1.2 meters, this one. It was pretty good, and then you lock it like this here, and then it's locked. This one was pretty good. There was a couple things that we didn't like. This tip was too small. It feels cheap. The cable is also not really big. It's a gentleman lock, like our factory said, and you still need the keys. So not ideal, and the finish also is quite funny. This one is wood. We wanted the brush orange aluminum finish, and the factory thought that it was wood because it does kind of look like wood in the renders. So yeah, we ended up with a wood lock on this sample. Pretty funny. And on the back you have some Torx here to lock the bracket to the block. It's good, but it could be a bit better, something even more secure. And inside here, well, there's rubber inserts that's going to allow you to fit it on not just one stem, but all the stem of our scooters. After that, we made this one. Same thing, but with a combination lock. So it's fixing the problem of the keys, and everything else is the same on this one. So you would lock it like this, and then change the combination. A couple things I didn't like. That button is very small, just like the first one. This is still too small. The combination here just feels extremely cheap. It's plastic, and the printing is not good, and we want something that's going to feel premium like our scooter, so that didn't really make sense for us. So we went to China after that, meet with the factory, and we explained really what we wanted, the feel of the lock that we're trying to get, and we made it clear that it really needed to feel like the iPhone of lock, like our scooters. So this is a sample we got after. As you can see, completely different. It's much bigger than the first one. It just feels a lot more refined. We got rid of the screws that you have here in the front, so you can imagine a thief could just remove those screws, open the lock, and mess with it inside. That doesn't make any sense. So now we put rivets here, so it looks just cleaner, and they're going to be painted on the final version. The combination lock feels a lot better here. The button is also a lot bigger. Obviously the tip here is a lot bigger than compared to the first one. So if we do a side-by-side shot, you can see the difference is night and day. This is going to ensure that the cables stay locked in the box more safely, and the cable itself is a lot bigger. You can see here the difference in the two cables. It's massive. The other thing we did inside the cable that you can't see is that we put an inlay of a Kevlar inside. So even if you cut it, you're gonna go through the plastic here, but inside there's some kind of a tissue, the Kevlar, and inside of this there's the cable, which is also pretty big. There was a couple of challenges with this one. We need one that is retractable when you let it go, so it cannot be too thick, the cable. It needs to go back in like this. So that was something, you know, it's the right mix of plastic, Kevlar, the thickness of the metal to achieve this finish here. The bracket, we're also able to make it much smaller. if you compare the two here. And the idea for this was that we want this to fit behind the latch of the scooter, so it's not hiding the COB light that we have on the stem, on the Explorer, on the Lite, and on the Pro. And lastly, how you change a code on the lock is completely different. On this one, it was a weird mechanism with a screw on the side that you needed to open the lock, turn the screw counterclockwise, and then you could change it. I don't know why. That doesn't make any sense. This one is a simple button that you put down, change the combination, obviously when it's the right one that is input, and then you flip it back up, and this is your new combination. It's a lot more intuitive. And we decided to make two samples. The first one has a blocker inside, so when you pull on it, you're gonna hear the this is like a, kind of a ratchet mechanism that's going to keep the cable out and locked. So this, the little tick 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 you can hear. So if I release, it's locked with this length right now. And same thing, I have the same length as before, 1.2 meters. So again, it's giving you a lot of room to lock the scooter. And when you release it, it's going back inside like this. You need to push it a little bit, but it's pretty easy. So feels good, but I'm not convinced how useful this feature is, the cranking feature. So we decided to just remove it. So now it's just smooth like this. It feels just as good, and the resistance is not too much. You know, it's not pulling too much when you pull on a cable that you need to have this crank system. So we kept the same length, we removed that. It just sounds and feels a lot smoother, and while keeping all the benefit of this one. So this is where we are at now. What's going to change between this V2 and the V3? Like I said, the rivet, they're going to be painted here. The spring inside is going to be a bit stronger to bring it even better, like this. We're going to remove those Torx, and it's going to be another special type of screws that is even less common than Torx screws. And those screws should be hidden with a nice rubber cap as well. And we decided to put this one, obviously gray compared to this one, to fit with the rest of the scooter. And the idea is really to put it on the stem here. So the bracket would go behind this latch here. And when you look at a scooter like the Pro, for example, this one, well, it's not going to hide the COB lights there. It's going to live under it. We made the rubber inlay to fit on the Apollo Air, on the Apollo City, on the Apollo Lite, on the Apollo Explorer, on the Apollo Pro, on the Apollo Phantom. We are looking if it can fit on other scooters like the Segways and those kind of things. I think the stem is similar enough to the Air and City that you could fit it on the 9Watt Max or the new G2, this one. So even if you don't have an Apollo, you're going to be able to probably enjoy this lock as well. So that's pretty much it for the lock. Let us know if you like it, if there's anything you'd like to change on it, and I'll see you down in the comments.